Hello and welcome. My name is Drew Downing.
And I'm Ethan Downing.
And for those of you playing at home, yes, we're brothers.
And we're going to tell you about the single most revolutionary tool for disaster response.
But before we do that, we want to explain why we're here. During the height of the first wave of COVID-19, we both deployed as disaster responders to manage an alternate care site, like the one at the Javits Center. One day, our logistics chief called us and said, "We have a problem. We only have enough PPE to get us through the next 24 hours. Having all this stuff and things in the right place at the right time to run a response is difficult. I've been responding to disasters for over 10 years. I've seen everything from hurricanes to wildfires to disease outbreaks. But the one thing I've never seen is logistics that went smoothly." We realized that something had to change. Our experience in the field told us that whatever the solution was, it had to be simple. Simple to set up, simple to learn, and simple to use.
And that's exactly what we created. Logista is a rapidly deployable logistics solution for disaster responses. So Logista uses technology in three core areas to improve the value chain. First, it simplifies essential functions, which results in better inventory tracking. Second, it incorporates an intuitive user interface, which makes it easy to learn and easy to use. Lastly, it leverages data for predictive modeling, which makes responses proactive instead of reactive. The outcome is a significant reduction in time spent on repetitive tasks. Logista is the simplest and most effective logistics tool for disaster responses, and it can be deployed anywhere in the world in about the time it takes to charge your phone. Logista is adaptable and scalable for any kind of response anywhere in the world, including humanitarian and international development missions, including SDG numbers 2, 3, 5, 10, 11, and 13. If we could get the next slide, please.
Logista is different from anything else available on the market. Existing software is built for big retail warehouses, so it's too complex and slow during disaster. Many COVID-19 responses simply use spreadsheets to track everything, which were inaccurate and time-consuming. Logista, on the other hand, is simple to roll out, easy to gather insights, and reduces costs for all parts of the response. Because Logista will use service as a software model, it's up to 97% cheaper than other systems. A freeware version will be available for low development countries, ensuring accessibility for the global south. The bootstrap startup model will reduce expenses, while our pilot program will ensure revenue to cover fixed operational and variable development costs. There are about 25 public health agencies and healthcare facilities interested in this pilot program that we're launching this fall. Our long-term customer base includes local, federal, and international response agencies, plus private clients. Additionally, funding for disaster preparedness has seen a significant jump recently. Some local counties are receiving a 3,000% funding increase. With Logista, it couldn't be easier to get started and focus on the mission at hand. It can be used by itself or layered on top of other systems to fill the gaps. You can get next slide, please.
We know Logista works because we deployed prototypes in the field for one of the largest responses in the United States, and the results were pretty incredible. If implemented from day one, Logista would have saved $1.2 million. Now you might ask, how is that possible? By optimizing one small area of a disaster response, we created a snowball effect that rippled through the system. What used to take 4 to 6 hours to do in the field without Logista now takes 25 to 45 minutes with Logista, saving over $6,000 per site each month and nearly $300,000 for the response. Before Logista, the agency was sending out 9 trucks a week on emergency supply runs, and with Logista, they send out about 1 truck per week. This 87% in reduction in costs saved over $750,000. We also saved 40% in time for shipping, receiving fulfillment centers, and increased fulfillment rates from about 1/3 to over 80%.
But that's not good enough. We don't just want to fix problems for individual organizations, we want to fix the system. Right now, we often respond in silos. There's no way to share data easily, but what if we could? What if we can leverage all data for a disaster in real time? Instead of being one isolated node responding to a disaster, you're now part of a network global team working to save lives together. That PPE I talked about at the beginning, it wouldn't have been a problem because we would have started with better predictive data, which enables us and our partners to see our blind spots together. Next slide, please.
We have a once in a generation opportunity to change the system. What we put in place today will determine how many lives we save tomorrow. And Logista is the single easiest change you can make today. Logista is simple to learn, simple to use, and it saves lives. We'd like to thank Columbia University and the UNICC and Jay and Sharia for their feedback and guidance. Thank you for your time, and please reach out to us if you have any questions.
Thank you so much, Ethan and Drew. So now we're going to be entering the question and answer part of the presentation. So I'm going to hand it over to Judge Pavan.
Thank you, Paul. I have a quick question regarding the regulations that are pertaining to data. You mentioned a lot about sharing data. So I'm curious on what various sorts of regulations have you considered and how will you implement them?
Yeah, that's a great question. So looking at federal requirements, you're going to have stuff like FedRAMP and FISMA. A lot of it is detailed out pretty closely for contracts and anything that you need for a federal contract. We've got a developer who's developed a couple of different systems and is aware of a lot of those limitations. A lot of the stuff we're dealing with are stuff and things that don't necessarily have too many restrictions, but we're outlining those as we go along and making sure to be compliant across all shapes and forms for whoever we're working with.